Do you like the Dreamcast? I love the Dreamcast, and that's why I'm on a mission to complete every single game on the system. There are almost 300 English language releases, and I want you to join me on my adventure to completing them all. The order is chosen completely at random, and last week we had a broom in our face with Rainbow Cotton. This week, game number 27, 102 Dalmatians, Puppies to the Rescue. Oh yes, your classic movie tie-in 3D platformer. I'm not getting my hopes too high, but this was during the golden era, so maybe it's alright. Well, I tell you what is alright, my Patreons. Thank you to my wonderful supporters. Thank you for believing in me and enjoying all the wonderful perks that I give you. It is the best way to support me and my wife, who edits the audio for these videos. She works hard to cover up my awful narration, so thank you. They get loads of bonus stuff, including getting to watch these videos a week early. So, 102 Dalmatians Puppies to the Rescue was released in late 2000 on the PS1, Game Boy Color, PC, and of course our much loved Sega Dreamcast. It was developed by Crystal Dynamics of all companies and published by Eidos, which, let's not mess around guys, that's some immediate pedigree. And I know it's before they were hugely famous, but they'd just released Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver the year before, so actually I am quite optimistic. So, how will we complete this game? Well, there's only a single player story mode, so that's what we're gonna do. There are no difficulty settings, we're just jumping right in. And the story starts off with Oddball and Domino, two pups watching TV, but being kinda bored. So they go treasure hunting in the park. They dig up one of Cruella's toys that she's trying to sell, but it's a bit of a disaster in terms of sales. And to bring her back from the brink of bankruptcy, she initiates Plan B. Because, you know, the music industry isn't doing too well for him these days. He's gotta do something. When the pups get back home, they see literally everyone is gone. All the pets in London gone. All 100 Dalmatians, aside from their parents, who plan to go to her toy factory and give her some comeuppance. They order the pups to stay here, but obviously they can't be listening to their mum and dad, so they go to free their bros and sisters too. We then get a level menu of sorts, and it shows that there are 20 levels, which is pretty full on and surprising. So without further ado, we jump into the first level, which is Regent's Park. We're greeted by a parrot called Waddlesworth, who essentially tells us what the jig is. The toy robots hanging around the place have been capturing your siblings, sticking them in boxes, and hoping they either suffocate or die of dehydration, whichever comes first. You have to destroy the boxes and free them. You do this by doing this roly-poly sort of thing. Most enemies in the game can be destroyed by a quick bark. While Cruella really did shrimp out on those tacky things. No wonder they're selling so bad, alongside them carrying explosives. That probably didn't go down too well with the parents. You can also collect 100 bones in a level if you so please. I don't believe any of these are actually necessary for completing the game normally. I think you can just go to the exit if you want to, but I obliged for the most part. If you were a PlayStation gamer around this time, I think you could all probably see what kind of game this is almost a copy of. Yeah, this is just Spyro the Dragon, just a step or two lower in quality. I mean, you have your bark, which is basically your fire breath. You free your family, who after you do so, leave you a little comment thanking you. It's literally like playing a Spyro game. Sadly, the pups didn't have a beach holiday in Fukushima around this time, so they didn't sprout little mutant wings to glide around, but I can look past that, because it's a mildly enjoyable time. It's really easy because not only is the challenge easy, but the game guides you the whole way by introducing little animal friends on each level who will tell you exactly what you need to do. That's if you can hear them. Goddamn what I would give for subtitles. The first level, you meet this little rabbit who tells you that Cruella's lackey is on the prowl, but you should bring him towards this bee's nest. So, if you get near him, he starts chasing you, and lo and behold, he gets chased off by bees. Apparently he's allergic, so yeah, you probably killed him as well. Again, like it seems most things in this game, that's not 100% necessary, but getting him out of the picture unlocks a sticker, so if you want 100% completion, you need to do that. And these guys appear in almost every level, not all of them, but most of them. The game controls well enough if you use the D-pad. The analog stick, that's a bit weird, but the main issue is definitely with the camera, which you can swing around at a snail's pace with the shoulder buttons, and sadly you can't shift up or down, which can be a pain in the arse sometimes. And I do have to lament the collectathon aspects while sliding down something. In this first level, for example, you have two water slides, each of which has collectible bones on them. There is no way you can get them all on your first try, and you'll even struggle multiple times because you have almost zero control, and the physics, they are weird. And I really did try my best on this level especially to get 100%. I got all the pups out of the boxes, and I really did try to hoover up all the bones as well. And I got to the end of the level, you can see the exit there, but I still didn't have 100 bones, so I was a bit confused. But then I realized one of your abilities is the sniffing ability. This is a rudimentary guide for you to follow, and it will take you to where the hidden bones are, which you need to dig up. So I essentially had to go through the whole level again, sniffing around and digging up the bones. And if my math is correct, there would be 30 of them to dig up since I'd collected 70 already. Needless to say, I got bored, and it caused the game's pace to stop dead. Deader than the puppies seen in the movies. They're all dead by now, children. So, I decided I wouldn't bother too much with those for now, just collect the bones that are visible. I never said I'd 100% these games, okay? So I jumped through the gate with 78. To my surprise, we are dumped straight into the second level. There is no hub world, and you don't even have to choose it from the menu. It's just bam, you're straight in there. I liked the urgency. We've got the pets of London to save. We can't be faffing around in menus. Get in there. We're in a toy shop somehow. Interestingly, when I decided to pause the game and go for a wee, I came back to see an option in the menu to switch characters, so why not? I'll switch from Malcolm in the Middle, yeah, it is the same voice actor, to a nobody girl, a Dalmatian without any spots. Mr. Tibbs says we need to get to the top of Big Ben so we can call for help to get out into the countryside. But first, this toy shop. A toy shop chosen no doubt thanks to its potential in variety. You have this bubble gun, a sci-fi rocket ship, and how can we forget the storage room? Such imagination. It's in this place you'll come across trampolines, which is one of the many things in this game that will propel you into the air and no doubt mildly annoy you because momentum is kind of strange. It doesn't help that the camera decides to do its own thing when you come within a meter of these things. We end up in Piccadilly Circus, and we meet Fidget the Squirrel once again, who we ask advice from about how to get to Big Ben, and she says, "What's she saying? I can't hear anything." How about those subtitles, guys? So I really have no idea what she said, but let's power on anyways. I don't know if this is a faithful representation of Piccadilly Circus because I've never been there, but you can go into a phone box and hear about Cruella having a go at one of her lackeys who we'll bump into later.
This instant, I think that horrid little puppy is in your area.
And here, a woman ordering plus-size underwear over the phone.
Some extra large blue underwear with yellow polka dot.
It's funny because she's fat. I should mention that it is important to take on the enemies in this game because not only are they the keepers of many a bone you may need to get 100% completion, but oftentimes it can help open a new area or a new thing to happen in the stage, like this fountain thing. For some reason, taking down these two tanks will cause the water to spurt out, which you can ride up to collect even more bones if you have the patience for the physics. There's some simple puzzles for the simple-minded, also known as children. Like hitting all these statues to make this column come down, at which point you ride it to the top, look around and decide to end it all in an explosion of the Union Jack. That unlocked a sticker, apparently. There's also one of these number remembrance puzzles. This is the kind of thing you have to expect throughout the game. In fact, this might be the most difficult puzzle in the whole game. Next, we are inside Big Ben, and we are greeted by a Batgirl who, I should say this now, the voice acting is pretty good. The issue is, almost everyone has an American accent. Now, normally I wouldn't mind, it's 2023, every media in the world has American accents, but we're in London here, why is everyone American? Anyways, aside from that, I like this level because it's almost exactly like a Castlevania level. I don't know if the 3D Castlevania games did a clock tower or not, but it doesn't seem to matter, guys, because 102 Dalmatians got you covered. You're swinging on more pendulums than the locker room of a gym for the elderly. You're riding gears and falling to your death. Okay, maybe not, but you might fall down. The only thing missing are the Medusa heads. It's a pretty fun level, all things considered. It looks great too. We now have our first boss fight. All of them are against Cruella, who somehow knows you're on top of Big Ben, and she's just got her pilot's license and is now firing tomatoes over London. Apparently that's fine. She's having an affair with the mayor, so she can do what she wants. Luckily, there are some ancient catapults up here with pineapples ready to be launched. That's handy. Next up, we have an interesting level in the Natural History Museum. This is a bit different because it's an open level. You can visit all the exhibits and explore freely, but the goal is this hairless cat, unaptly named Fluffy. He says the exhibits have all been messed up and he wants you to help find them, put them in the right place. So like the Roman coin, for example, is hiding in the dinosaur place, the dinosaur bone is in the armory, and so on. And the donuts, what's that doing in the cafeteria? Oh yeah, he wants you to grab that too so he can put it in its proper place, his belly. What a guy. I like this Egyptian section where you put one of Cruella's lackeys in a sarcophagus. It's fine, they'll find him in like 3 weeks, at which point they might as well use him as one of the exhibitions. We have a small London Underground part because it seems we're obliged to go through all the famous London bits, as well as a sewer section because video games. But I should talk about the production at this point. I think the game looks pretty good. They've stylized everything well to fit with the original cartoon. The scale, all over the place, but they managed to make things look, big in comparison to this little puppy. Even if it might be a bit overkill at sometimes, or perhaps not enough, but it's bright, colorful, and we've seen loads of variety, and there's loads more variety to come. The music, while not entirely hit after hit, I have to give a special mention to the music in this level right here. It doesn't have any right to be this good. Next up, we're at the carnival, which this annoyingly slow talking turtle called Shelby, it's a joke for kids. That makes me want to burn the world. Even more so for the fact that he points it out. He tells us the joke. Come on. Anyways, he also tells us that if we want to go on the rides, we first need to get the ticket for them. So I'm thinking, okay, cool. I'm gonna have to go over here to get the ticket for this ride over there. It's gonna be all interconnected and stuff. But no, you just pick up the ticket right outside the ride. It's like someone had a great idea, but then they got reminded they needed to clock off early to take their great aunt Enid to bingo. No time. I guess it's interesting though. There's a magic caravan that changes every time you go in, a trampoline kind of thing, shooting gallery, roller coaster, good stuff. Another level proceeds in a sawmill factory for unknown reasons. It's quite forgettable. However, we then get to our second boss battle. It's Cruella again. She's speeding around on a boat and you need to fling watermelons at her. There's definitely a fruity theme going on here. First pineapples, now watermelons. Personally, I can't wait till we get to the durians. That's a trip to the A&E. There's a small level in the countryside where we get dive bombed by the Luftwaffe. There's also this devil enemy that started appearing, and for some reason, it reminds me of something in South Park, especially the way it speaks. Like that's just kind of weird, kind of creepy. There's also another murder, or I guess it's self-defense as you crush one of her lackeys once more with Stonehenge. Murder and cultural destruction. I approve. Next is the farm level, and I think I have to say, this is probably my favorite level in the whole game. Sure, the theme isn't very interesting, the gameplay mechanics aren't as inventive as some other places, but I think it nails the feeling of what I hoped the whole game could be, because it's completely open, almost like a playground, and it's huge. The idea of it is being a servant for this miserable little pig who needs some water, but then also wants to help the farmer doing chores like putting the chickens in the coop, draining the grain from the silo, and getting all GTA on the outhouse. I like this level a lot, and I wish more levels were like this in the game. Next up is the ice level, which, if it's suddenly winter, this adventure is taking a long ass time. What are these puppies playing at? The only thing of note about this place is the slalom event, which, considering how awkward the sliding physics are, is more like a battle with the laws of the universe. There is a random ass castle level, which I suppose is kind of inventive in how it goes about the level progression, like going through the sewers first, because video games, before making your way inside. And I think this was included just so you could have a siege against Cruella, who's dropping atomic water balloons at you while you fire pumpkins at her. Pumpkins don't grow this big in the UK, goddammit. After that, we see a cutscene where we see Mummy and Daddy captured. I mean, we could have guessed that already, but here's the evidence. We're on the last stretch of the game now. We have to go through this spooky forest, which kind of lives up to its name. It's actually quite a maze, and I did feel a little bit lost. It does a good job of, hiding the exits to each area, so you're not entirely sure where you can go. Speaking of mazes, outside Cruella's mansion is certainly one of those. It's quite linear, but opening the right path makes it more disorientating than it actually is. Then there's a really short level inside the mansion, which is almost like a haunted house. Like, she's so busy catching puppies, she forgot to upkeep the home. This place is a wreck. What are you doing, lady? The final level is definitely the most difficult because, of course it is, that's generally how games work, but it's not really that difficult. But I did have to pick up more health replenishments here, more than any other level, mainly down to your classic mechanical presses. Getting squished is fun. There's this weird room with electromagnetic blocks where you're supposed to, mix and match formations depending on, which two switches you press. This also allows you to get to different areas and collect the bones and no doubt a trapped puppy. But at this point, I was like, I can't be arsed. If I was playing this for fun, sure, why not, but I was ready to see the end credits. I've got more Dreamcast games to play. The final battle, you won't be shocked to hear, is against Cruella, again. Sadly, she doesn't turn into like a super mecha ultra Cruella, nor do you end up fighting on the moon, but you have to command a turret to destroy first the blocks around her, then the electrical things that pop up. She and they are quite relentless, but as long as you keep moving, you won't have much trouble with her. I mean, I did have a crisis of confidence at the beginning because at first it felt like I was shooting the blocks and it wasn't doing anything, so I wasn't really sure where to aim. It's a bit embarrassing being bamboozled by a kid's game, but I've lived with enough shame already. This is just a drop in the ocean to my nightmares. Game complete. Mum and Dad are rescued. The three lackeys try to escape by hiding in boxes, but they end up on a deserted island. Suppose it's better than being crushed to death. And due to both Cruella and the scientists falling in the goop, they are now in prison together. Literally, they are stuck together. That's actually quite funny. It made me laugh. And I don't laugh at anything aside from my own existence. And that's it, we're done. But before I finish, a quick mention to the sticker book, which can be done for 100% completion, and the mini games. There's a mini golf competition in here alongside some other stuff like a racing game and tilting marble thing, which I think are pretty fun additions. They've got absolutely nothing to do with the story. They just made them because they wanted to. Imagine that. Adding gaming content just for no reason at all, you just wanted to. Gaming CEOs would have a fit in the modern market. They would never do that. Free stuff? No way. Overall, what do I think? Well, you know what, I came in expecting the worst, but it was soon clear that what we have here is a decent enough, cheerful 3D platformer for kids. I pleasantly enjoyed it in a laid-back, not thinking about it too much kind of way. It's like Spyro, but made with slightly less love than thought. Honestly, if you miss 3D collectathon platformers that aren't too difficult, then give this one a try. I would say a 6 out of 10 in terms of fun. For the presentation, that's pretty decent too. All the environments are varied and have that stylistic cartoon vibe of the original animation. They did a service, and say what you want about the American invasion of London, the voice acting is good too. I'd give it a 7 out of 10 for presentation. For difficulty, it's not difficult at all. The game guides you the whole way, and most enemies are super easy to deal with. Even the puzzle elements provide little challenge, and the only real enemy is the camera, a 3 out of 10. Completion time, 4 hours and 20 minutes. And that was being thorough, but not anally thorough, because you should never be anally thorough. They don't appreciate it. What do you guys think? Did you play this back in the day, maybe your PS1? Was this game your entire childhood? Let me know what you think. And if you watched all the way through, leave me a dog emoji in the comments alongside a normal comment. A special thanks to my Patreon supporters for believing in me and enjoying all the bonus content that you get. They get a lot of stuff. But if you like the series, then the best thing about it is that you can watch them early. Yes, you can watch the next episode right now, and it is Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes. Click the link below to go watch it right now. And a big shout out to my super producers, Alexander Cato, Brent McLean, FF14 Best RPG, Vey, Sven Nowlertz, Wixit, Josh Foot, and Germonic.